and welcome to the Team 1 Group Case Study Analysis. Today we'll be exploring the Boeing Company. Introduction. The Boeing Company was originally founded July 15, 1916 as Pacific Aero Products Company by timber baron William E. Boeing. It would be renamed the Boeing Airplane Company on April 26, 1917. On June 29, 1918, Boeing Airplane Company signed its first military contract with the United States Navy for $116,000. This marked the beginning of a long-standing relationship between the United States military and Boeing. February 1933 saw the creation of the first modern airliner, the Model 247. This was a low-wing, two-engine monoplane with advanced features like retractable landing gear and an all-metal semi-monocoque construction. On May 21, 1961, just 5 years after the death of William E. Boeing, the company's name was officially changed to the Boeing Company. Boeing not only creates planes, but also has a rich history in aerospace. NASA tapped on the company to design the Saturn V, a first-stage booster for the Apollo program. The Apollo program was a series of 14 missions aimed at moon travel. In February 1974, Boeing began work on components that would later become the Hubble telescope, launched in 1990. Boeing even helped design the International Space Station. Back on Earth, Boeing dedicated time to innovation by producing the Condor, an unmanned aerial vehicle, in 1988. Post 9/11, while partnered with Siemens Corp, Boeing began installing and maintaining explosive device systems at 438 U.S. airports. Boeing has a rich history of innovation and has become a household name across the globe. Background and problem identification. The Boeing Company has a quality problem. The values of Boeing have been called into question after a string of quality issues caused the company to ground all 171 Boeing MAX 9 planes. On January 5, 2024, a misalignment of the stop pin and stop pad on the door plug resulted in the door flying off while the plane was ascending. While there were no fatalities, this could have ended catastrophically if the plane had been at a higher elevation or the flight crew were moving about the cabin. In May, Boeing faced another inquiry by federal air safety regulators, who claimed the company skipped some inspections and falsified documents for their 787 Dreamliners. These quality issues are a misguided attempt to save capital. This can be seen in Boeing's attempt to lay off engineers during dips in demand. This causes these experienced personnel to find work with competitors, making Boeing unable to hire them back during peak times. Boeing also moved their design and development to lower cost places like Moscow, which further limits expertise. The Boeing company was even sued by its shareholders in 2022 for over $200 million for failing in its fiduciary duty to monitor quality. During the hearing, it was revealed that there was no board member in charge of safety. The only safety committee had no direct connection with the CEO or board, so warnings were swept under the rug. Literature review: deeper into Boeing's difficulties.
What does the research say? So, Boeing's an international company. Everybody knows about the company of Boeing as we've kind of gone over with our background and with all the things that we've been reading and seeing in the new media, whether it's on TV or on our social media outlets that we see. So, Boeing's a huge international company that has recently openly bought Spirit Aerosystems, which is the supplier for the 737 MAX plane. The 737 MAX is known to be coming from a renowned aviation company that's now a huge spotlight in the media. In this case, action has to be taken to prevent this from going down to other companies who are not as large in the industry, so those who are just national companies, whether it be in the United States or not. We're really just looking out for the lives of those individuals who could be harmed or the families who have already lost some who have been. Boeing's been in the deep waters recently. Hundreds of victims from the 737 MAX incidents. They're unexcusable. So Boeing has agreed to a plea deal to pay over $244 million in fines to the families of the victims who tragically passed. $244 million to us seems like a lot of money, but to Boeing, it's actually not that much money. The victims' families sought quite a bit higher compensatory fines, but this wasn't actually the case. The federal prosecutors were not on the same page with the families. The families were requesting the federal prosecutors to sue Boeing for over $25 billion for damages and the loss of their family members. Boeing's now under a 3-year probation period, during which this period they're under observatory watch and they have to make sure that they're ensuring the policies, that they're improving and progressing in the right direction to avoid any more catastrophes from happening involving any other planes, not just the 737 MAXs. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority, is responsible for all the consequences that have been struck down against Boeing in the 737 MAX fatal crashes that have happened. People may have read this. This is a huge topic, but the FAA conducted assembly line audits, which are common, on the 737 MAXs that they found were 33 out of the 89 tests had failed. One of which was the door plug that caused an issue in a flight from the Alaskan Airlines. Now, here we go. What does this boil down to? It's the simple fact that this is a larger issue than we had thought. It's a systemic issue. We know what the causes are. There are safety holes that are found in policies being pushed out from the safety board that is clearly failing inspections from the FAA. What this means is we just need to do better, and I believe that Boeing will, with the FAA barking up their tree.
To further evaluate the Boeing company and provide adequate recommendations, the team will now conduct a SWOT analysis. This analysis consists of a 4-step methodology. The team will evaluate the Boeing company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities for growth, and any threats the organization might face. Boeing is a long-standing organization with significant resources, funding, and an international reputation. With that being said, there are a number of strengths the organization can leverage to improve its situation. First and foremost is its extensive product portfolio. Despite the company's recent issues with quality control, which have greatly affected public relations and damaged trust in the organization, Boeing aircraft are nevertheless utilized every day and are renowned worldwide for their reliability by airlines and aviation companies alike. The organization also invests heavily in research and development for both civilian and military aerospace applications. Finally, the organization maintains a skilled workforce and a reputation for hiring the best and brightest in the industry. In regard to the organization's weaknesses, the company has faced number of significant issues with quality control that have received widespread media attention and ruptured public trust in the company as a whole. Most notably, issues with the 737 MAX aircraft, including software and hardware malfunctions, have affected public relations and caused the organization to incur significant financial losses. The overall organizational culture at Boeing has now been called into question numerous times and caused damage to its reputation. As a result, Boeing now faces heightened government and regulatory scrutiny, further limiting the organization's prospects. Finally, Boeing's reliance on defense contracts makes it vulnerable to politics and budget changes. Despite its weaknesses, there are some important opportunities the organization can capitalize on to maximize its strengths and improve its situation. One area in which the company is already seeing great success is in continued innovation and development, particularly in the field of sustainable aviation technology. Today, there is a greater demand for improved aircraft efficiency and lower carbon emissions. Boeing achieved success recently with the launch of its landmark new engine, the GE9X turbofan, designed specifically for use on the company's Boeing 777 airframe. This engine, built by General Electric, has been hailed as the most powerful and efficient aircraft engine ever built. I have actually had the privilege of viewing several of these engines in person at the General Electric engine test facility in Peebles, Ohio. Finally, another area for opportunity lies in digital transformation. By focusing on improved manufacturing, testing, and smart technologies, Boeing could find itself in a more favorable position compared to its competitors. Despite these opportunities, there are some threats that could face the organization in the coming years. First is the intensifying competition in the aviation industry. The rise of new and emerging companies throughout the world adds significant pressure to Boeing, especially following the string of recent incidents that have damaged the organization's reputation. Additionally, Boeing, as with many other aerospace companies, also continues to grapple with the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected supply chains worldwide, leading to increased production costs and delays. To ensure success, Boeing will have to find a way to manage these difficulties into the future.
Recommendations. What can Boeing do now to improve public relations and restore its reputation as a leader in aeronautical engineering and production? Boeing recently acquired or reacquired Spirit AeroSystems, a company that it sold off in the early 2000s in an effort to bring back manufacturing of its components for the fuselage assembly back in-house. This is a great strategy. We recommend bringing all of the production, quality control, manufacturing of the parts and components that it needs to assemble its aircraft, particularly the fuselage, bringing all of those back in-house so it can maintain tighter controls over those components. It would be a great idea if Boeing implemented an international public relations campaign in order to put out more good news about what it's doing to restore the public's trust and reputation and improve the quality of the manufacturing of its aircraft. Focusing on employees would be a great thing for Boeing to do. They could make sure that they're attracting the best and the brightest in the aeronautical engineering space, so they could retain employees and recruit employees, and they should increase their professional development strategies and offer compensation and assistance in helping their employees improve and increase their professional development. Boeing needs to make great strides to get ahead of the crowd with innovation, and focusing on their employees will help do that. But they need to show that they are still in the game in aeronautical engineering and that they're making big strides to increase their innovation.
Conclusion. Boeing's journey through a cascade of crises began with the 737 MAX accidents, which not only led to tragic losses, but also revealed significant operational failings. These events triggered intense scrutiny from both federal agencies and the public, culminating in hefty fines and mandatory oversight. The crises unearthed a range of systemic issues at Boeing. Poor oversight and a weak safety culture under the pressure to outpace competitors like Airbus led to oversight in critical designs decisions which had catastrophic outcomes. In an effort to rectify its shortcomings, Boeing has undertaken strategic initiatives including the acquisition of Spirit AeroSystems. This move is intended to tighten control over its production process and ensure higher quality standards across its operations. Boeing is now pivoting towards a culture that prioritizes safety and quality above all. By imposing stricter internal standards and advocating for transparency, Boeing aims to restore its credibility and ensure the integrity of its products. As Boeing moves forward, it remains under the watchful eye of the global community. The effectiveness of its recovery strategies and the integration of a quality-centric corporate culture will ultimately determine its ability to regain leadership in the aerospace industry. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation on the Boeing Company.